Here's a question.
Yep.
Um, is Protoss shields worth getting?
So, as I just said, like a few minutes ago, you had a comparable army supply to him, right? You're both at about 170. You had like 3,500 minerals, 1,200 gas-ish. Yes, definitely in this scenario, no point in not getting them. In a more evenly matched game, like say you're both macroing well, but you're behind an army. Okay, so maybe not a more evenly matched. Well, okay, I guess what I mean by evenly matched is the Terran is normally ahead. They're normally ahead in economy a little bit, right? Like a little bit of a quicker third, quicker fourth, whatever. And they're normally ahead in army supply by 10 to 30-ish, depending on their harassment, their 10-minute push, and everything like that. So a more even game, in a more normal, standard, macroed out game, he would have 10, 20 or so army supply more than you, and he would have 5 or so more workers, and because of mules, a better economy. And with that being said, it's totally okay to not even worry about shield upgrades. If you have 3-3 with attack and armor, you're good to go. Just focus on the splash damage, focus on everything else. But once you're maxed, once you know you have money in the bank, once things are like okay, that's when you focus on something like shield upgrades. You feel me?
Okay, yeah.
So
something that's not as important, but I have the floated money to actually use it.
It is definitely. I've played 45, 50-minute games out where I never got shields. Now, I will tell you right now that was a mistake, but it is fine. It's okay. Shield is basically the same thing as armor. It reduces incoming damage by the shield level. So, I click on a Zealot now to shield. So while he's getting attacked, while shields are still up, it reduces attacks by 2. A Marine shoots and does 6 damage unupgraded. It'll do 4 damage to a shield. And say you have no armor upgrades, it'll do the full 6 damage or whatever once it gets past the shield. Most Protoss units have significantly less shield than they do health. Or just a decent amount less, because you look at the Colossus, it's got 150 shield, 200 health. So are you following?
Yeah.
Armor applies to health, shield applies to shield. It's basically armor for shield. So since most of your units have more health than shield, definitely prioritize armor. And once it gets to late game and they have something like EMP, like once you're playing against higher level people who will round out their composition better with more Vikings than with Ghosts, EMP will take out your shields instantly anyway, so shield is definitely less of a priority.
Okay. Yep. That's the one thing I never did understand was that, because I'd watch pro games and never see a Protoss actually get it. Maybe that's just because there's always something going on in there, so they're never maxed out.
Yeah,
unless
basically.
It's a rare occasion.
Basically, yes. If you're going for air units, shield applies to air units as well, even though it comes from the forge. So that might be a scenario to get it, versus Zerg, you're massing Voiders or something. If your composition is Archon heavy, say PvP, this is a perfect scenario actually. PvP, right? If you feel comfortable with double upgrading, you think you still have an army to survive and whatever, and we'll talk about more specifics in future sessions. Then yeah, you can double upgrade, but for the most part, it's attack. Attack for Protoss, their units are expensive. They've got a lot of health. They're pretty tanky. Even a Zealot, which is technically considered a light unit, starts with an armor. So it's not armored, but it has 1 armor without upgrades. Anyway, my point is, you focus on how much damage you can output before the units die, because things like Blink, things like Force Fields, things like Colossus range, so they're very far back in the army fight, all those things are for keeping your army alive longer to dish out more damage. So attack upgrades are high priority. Now, if you are double upgrading, right, always attack and armor, unless you don't go the Colossus composition, and your main route of splash damage is Archon. So if you're going Immortal, charge slot Archon with no intention to get Zealots all throughout the mid game, 3 base and whatever, then get attack and shield upgrades. That's a perfect, probably one of the only scenarios where you'd get that.
Okay. Yeah, make the Archons more tankier, I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Because they have basically no health. They have 10 health and 350 shield or something like that. So all the shield upgrades do not apply to them whatsoever, except for maybe 1 or 2 Marine shots when they lose all their shield. It's all about shield for them. So yeah, Archons. Good question. It's something I didn't understand for a while either, how it worked at least.
Let's see here. I'm trying to think if I have any other questions, but...
So, is there a way you can give me control of the replay without restarting it?
How do I do that?
I don't even know if it's possible.
Yeah, neither do I. There's take command, but that...
Yeah, that puts us in the game.
Yeah. Not that I know of. Yeah, we're fucked on that idea.
Okay, so go back to like the very start of the game, basically, and we'll talk about a couple things before we wrap this up. Just hit play on faster speed, and I think you already got it. And chances are I can explain everything as the game goes on, and maybe ask you to pause it if I need to.
Okay.
Okay, so one thing I already noticed, I'll just get a head start. You got quick 2 gas before you took your Nexus. You don't really need to do that. 1 gas is fine, as long as you get it on whatever 14, which is standard. 13-ish gate, I mean you probably know this stuff, but I'll just go over it. 13-ish gate, like it's right when the 12th probe finishes and the 13th probe starts, you start your gateway, and then 14 you make your gas when you have 75 minerals. That should give you enough to get out a quick Mothership Core for the Reaper. Then start a Stalker, then in like another 20 seconds, and that's it. It's just 20 seconds it delays your Warp Gate tech. Also, that was a noob mistake, that pylon, but we'll forget about that. And then you're good. You
only one in front of the Nexus?
No, like you didn't put it down right away, basically.
Oh.
So yeah, your time's going to be slightly off. But yeah, only 1 gas should get you all that, so that's totally fine. That way you have extra mineral income, and you didn't spend the 75 resources on the simulator, the second assimilator, so you can get your Nexus quicker. I like to, well, we'll talk about this later once again, and this might even be like a high-level thing, we'll worry about this later. I like to start a Zealot when the gateway finishes, or a little bit after I start a Cybernetics Core and it's still building. And then when I go down early to take the natural expansion, like I have 200 minerals. I check if you did an engineering bay block, because a lot of times Terrans will make an engineering bay in your natural. Have you ever had anyone do that?
One time actually, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a high level thing, so probably you won't see it much, but basically you want the Zealot to finish and go kill the engineering bay. But if there is no engineering bay, you cancel the Zealot and take your natural like normal. We'll not worry about that though. In the future, we'll just talk about it as it comes up. But yeah, put people on gas, get your Cybernetics Core, get a second pylon, then get ready to get your Nexus. But no need to get double gas, unless you're going for like Oracle Harass before expand, or maybe even after expand, I'm not sure.
Okay, here's a question. When should I take my second gas? Supply block, nice.
So, let me think. Second pylon should have been at 15. When you build your 3rd pylon, you take your gas. So you already take your natural, you know, you're 19 out of 26 right now, right? So with a Stalker, that's 21 out of 26. With a Mothership Core, that's 23 out of 26. Plus you just made another worker, that'd be 24. So right about then, your Mothership Core is already out, probably. Your Stalker started and halfway done. Get a pylon and get your assimilator. Nexus should already be started though. Yeah. You're going to see that you're going to have a lot of extra gas for the early stages of this game. Especially considering you didn't go... Well, you did go double upgrades, which we can talk about doing a double upgrade build. But for the build I'm talking about is 1 gateway expand, Robo and Forge, so like you can get cannon if you need to, but chances are you'll be fine until you can get Observer out, like, or what are they called, Widowmine wise. Then 2 more gateways, because like I said, 3 gateways for 1 base, 5 for 2, and 7 for 3. Okay. But it's after you make your Nexus. Like this Nexus is super late for standard, so we're gonna help you beat. That's gonna be the number 1 thing, just getting the build order down and getting things efficient. Because you're gonna see like Terrans are gonna be doing pushes that were scary when you played like this. No offense, but then you're gonna play like the right way, the most efficient way, and then the push is gonna come. You're like, oh my god, like their army looks so small. And the truth is, their army is the same because they're just as shitty. But you're going to be macroing better, so you're going to have a better foot forward to hold off the push. Yeah, this Nexus is like ridiculously late. Like 5:54. I guess it's only like a minute or a minute and a half late.
Oh,
But,
hold on. Yeah, my food's here. Hold on.
Okay.
You're back. Alright.
Yeah, so usually it's standard for the command center to start a little bit before the Nexus, but we're talking like 30, 60 seconds. Whereas his is done, already about to start an orbital, and you have just started your Nexus, so that already put you decently behind, which I think is the main reason why his third base was much quicker, like ridiculously quicker than yours, as opposed to just a couple minutes like standard. Main reason why, when all things were said and done, and he's on 4 base or 3.5 base and you're on 3, he had way more of a bank. Like, I think I saw you had like 1900 and 1000 at one point, when he had like 4000, 2000, if I recall correctly. So I think that's why, just because the mistakes early set you back, and it's like an exponential way that it sets you back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, if it's late game, you have 4 bases, you lose 100 minerals like a Zealot for free, or a Pylon for free. It's not a big deal. It hardly even supply blocked because it's already late game, you're probably already maxed, and you just 100 minerals. But if you lost a Pylon like right now, and supply blocked you heavily, it would make, you know, your timing, like for 5 minutes, be 1 minute later, 6 minutes, let's say. And then since that was 1 minute later, you know, the 12-minute, like, 7 gateway all-in timing, I don't even know, I'm making up shit, is 3 minutes later, and then like 35 minutes into the game, your shit's like 5 minutes later. It just, early macro problems and like harassment can compound and be way worse than late game harassment. So this late Nexus, even though it does seem indirectly related, is totally related to why he had a bigger army a lot of the game, a lot more income, etc., etc. So yeah, we can resume and shit. What you eating? You got like pizza or something? Or Chinese food?
Oh, I wish it was pizza now. It's Arby's.
Oh, cool.
I had pizza yesterday.
Arby's? Did you get like a friend to pick it up?
Oh no, that was my parents.
Oh, okay, cool. No, same thing, whatever.
Yeah, true.
Well, I was just like, like they don't deliver, do they? What the fuck's going on? That's why I guess Chinese food and or
My Arby's delivers. I wish.
Yeah, I guess.
Only in my dreams.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're doing standard macro, Mothership Core is a heavy priority. So Stalker, right, at the very start of the game, after the Mothership Core, that's just to secure like a Reaper kill, basically, because the Reaper can be really annoying. The Mothership Core is just to make, like, you start a Mothership Core, okay, you start your Nexus, then you start a Mothership Core. Like, that's how early your Nexus needs to be. And your Mothership Core is your first unit. You Chrono Boost it once, and then it'll come out at a perfect time, so if the game's standard and he's going standard Reaper, the Reaper will arrive when the Mothership Core pops out, and then you're safe. You start a Stalker, you start Warp Gate Tech, you start a Robo, Forge, then add 2 more gateways. The Forge is basically like, if you need a cannon, and then you just start upgrading slowly, like you get +1 attack, then +1 armor. And then, if you're in a situation where you think, okay, I can get away with double Forge, you get your Twilight Council, you get your second Forge once 1/1 is done. That way you can start 2/2 immediately. 2 armor on one Forge, 2 attack on the other. Because going 2 Forge early on is just like kind of a risky type play. If he was going for like a more aggressive type deal, like a 5 racks on 2 base, then going 2 Forge would, like, you'd die every game to like someone your skill level. So we'll have to talk about when to go double Forge and when not to, but once again, more specific for later.
Actually,
Yeah.
I used to do this when I was bronze, to be honest. I would start on 1 Forge, get weapons, and then armor, and then like relatively around the time when armor would be done, I would build a Forge. By the time my Forge was up, I would start 2/2 on weapons and armor on both of them.
And you need the Twilight Council bow, yep. Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's good, because you're not like super committed. Like, if he did, if he was doing 5 racks, right, and had been building off them for quite a while, right, like you start your 4th and 5th racks, like when your naturals like just landed, turned into an orbital and whatever, his army would like literally be twice as big. He wouldn't have double upgrades. Okay.